Have you ever met someone in the most unexpected of places who later turned out to play a significant role in your life? Picture this: Aleksandr, a 35-year-old technical director, a husband, a father of 3, and an esoteric medium, takes his family on a much-needed vacation to Larnaca, Cyprus. As they navigate the bustling airport, they cross paths with a familiar face, Pavel, who introduces them to his friend Antonis. Antonis, a local Cypriot, recently broke his leg and needed assistance during the flight. In this unexpected encounter, Aleksandr and his family find a new friend in Antonis. His warm and amiable nature quickly resonates with them, and they form a bond, exchanging contacts before bidding him farewell at the airport. Little did Aleksandr know that this chance meeting would lead to an unforgettable experience. How far would you go to maintain a newfound friendship? This question guided Aleksandr and his family as they embarked on their journey to visit their new friend, Antonis, in Limassol. It wasn't a simple road trip. It was an adventure, a leap into the unknown, fueled by the warmth of a friendship that had blossomed so unexpectedly. After a week of anticipation, the day finally came. They rented a car and set off, their hearts humming with excitement. The journey to Limassol was a treat in itself, a mesmerizing blend of picturesque landscapes and the captivating allure of the open road. Once they arrived in Limassol, finding Antonis's house was like solving a thrilling puzzle. Nestled on the outskirts of the city was Antonis's abode, a charming private house that instantly gave them a sense of the man's taste and lifestyle. They spent quality time with Antonis and his wife, sharing stories, laughter, and a glimpse into each other's lives. But the day had more to offer. Antonis was not just their host. He was their guide into the heart of Limassol. They left the coziness of his house and headed towards the mountains. The mountains of Limassol, a sight for sore eyes, were the perfect backdrop for their shared adventure. They engaged in some harmless fun, shooting at cans with an air rifle, an activity that added a dash of adrenaline to their day. The city and its mountains were not the only things Antonis wanted to share with his new friends. He had something else in mind, something that would take them on a spiritual journey. He led them to the St. Lazarus church, a place that was about to introduce Aleksandr to a whole new aspect of his being. Just when they thought the day couldn't get any more interesting, Antonis had one more place to show them. Little did they know, their visit to Limassol had only just begun to reveal its true magic. Have you ever felt a powerful spiritual connection that left you speechless? Our journey takes us along with Aleksandr to the St. Lazarus Church, a sacred place that holds immense spiritual significance. Within the hallowed halls of this church, Aleksandr was drawn to the holy relics of St. Lazarus. Preserved under a sheet of glass, the skeletal remains of St. Lazarus's hand rested in a wooden box. Encouraged by his new friend Antonis, Aleksandr stepped forward to pay his respects. Leaning closer to the glass, he prepared himself for a simple act of reverence. But what he experienced next was anything but ordinary. As he focused his attention on Lazarus's bones, Aleksandr perceived a phenomenal transformation. His energy seemed to fill the field around the saint's relics, inflating it like a balloon. The dried energy of the bones swelled, morphing into a transparent sphere of blue-violet light, about the size of a small watermelon. Suddenly, a beam of finer materiality, roughly the size of a large orange, shot from the heavens into this spherical field. This astral-level beam then shot from the sphere into Aleksandr's Manipura chakra, causing it to vibrate with a palpable masculine voice that asked, "Why have you come? What do you want?" This unexpected spiritual connection left Aleksandr stunned and speechless. The holy relics of Lazarus had acted as an interface to his soul. The saint's soul, realizing that Aleksandr was too shocked to communicate, scanned his physical and subtle bodies, and then, with the same masculine voice, it delivered a simple message: "Don't drink, don't smoke." The connection then disappeared as abruptly as it had appeared, leaving Aleksandr alone in the church, utterly overwhelmed. The relics had served their purpose. They had provided a link to the soul of their owner. Overwhelmed by the experience, Aleksandr was left in a state of shock. Have you ever received a message so profound it changed the way you lived? Well, Aleksandr experienced just that. In the sacred atmosphere of the St. Lazarus Church, he found himself in an unexpected spiritual encounter. The message from St. Lazarus's soul was not just a spiritual experience, but a call to action. It was a directive towards a healthier lifestyle, a call to let go of habits that hinder the body's sacred temple. It was a message from beyond, a divine nudge towards a better path. This experience brought forth a new perspective for Aleksandr. It was a profound realization that the physical and the spiritual are interconnected, that our actions in the physical world can impact our spiritual journey. Though shaken, Aleksandr could not have predicted the further trials that awaited him. Have you ever stared death in the face and survived to tell the tale? Let's delve into the story of Aleksandr, who did just that. After visiting St. Lazarus Church, Aleksandr and his family were taken to a seaside restaurant on the territory of an English military base. They enjoyed a pleasant dinner, with Aleksandr indulging in a bottle of beer and his wife a bottle of wine. Feeling emboldened by the wine, Aleksandr's wife suggested a swim out to the buoys. Despite his initial objections, the pull of the sea and the influence of the beer saw Aleksandr following his wife into the open water. A seemingly innocent decision that soon turned into a terrifying ordeal. The sea, with its unpredictable nature, is not to be underestimated. As they swam further from the shore, the waves grew larger, the current stronger. Before they knew it, they were fighting for their lives in the open sea, miles away from the safety of the shore. The buoys they aimed for seemed to be an unreachable target, the shore a distant memory. Just when it seemed like they would be claimed by the sea, help arrived in the form of English sailors who had spotted them struggling. They were on the verge of succumbing to the sea's relentless pull when the sailors reached them. Despite their exhaustion, they managed to cling on to the lifelines thrown to them and were pulled back to safety. In those final moments, Aleksandr had a vision of his lifeless body lying at the bottom of the sea, a chilling image that remains etched in his memory. But it wasn't his time to go. His escape from life's gallery was not yet approved. This brush with death left an indelible mark on Aleksandr, reminding him of the fragility of life. The sea, in its vastness and power, had given him a stark reminder of his mortality, a lesson he would carry with him for the rest of his days. Have you ever looked back on a series of events and realized they were all connected? Aleksandr's journey was not just an ordinary vacation. It was a series of life-changing experiences that unfolded like chapters in a book, each one revealing a profound lesson. The unexpected encounter with Antonis, a stranger at first, led to an extraordinary friendship and an unforgettable adventure. It taught Aleksandr about the beauty of human connection and the value of kindness. Then came the visit to the St. Lazarus Church, where a mystical experience made him question the boundaries of the physical and spiritual world. This encounter was a reminder that there is so much more to life than what meets the eye. But perhaps the most impactful lesson was learned at the beach, where a near-death experience reminded Aleksandr of the fragility of life. It was a wake-up call, a call to cherish every moment and to live a life of purpose and meaning. In the end, Aleksandr's journey wasn't just a vacation, it was a spiritual awakening, a lesson in humility and a reminder to cherish life.
In the quiet city of Larnaca, as the sun sets and the nocturnal life awakens, our protagonist finds himself drifting into a deep slumber. The day's hustle and bustle give way to the serene whisper of the night. Larnaca, a city that hums with history and spirituality, is the perfect setting for our protagonist's mystical journey. As our protagonist lies down, the city of Larnaca, with its ancient churches and sun-kissed beaches, fades into the background. His mind, however, is far from dormant. It prepares for a journey, an exploration of spiritual realms far beyond the physical boundaries of this world. The night deepens, the city sleeps, and our protagonist's consciousness transcends the confines of the physical world. His journey begins in the realm of dreams, a mystical landscape where the impossible becomes possible, where the physical merges with the metaphysical. As sleep takes over, our protagonist embarks on a journey far beyond the physical realm. Within the depths of his subconscious, the protagonist witnesses a scene from another time, another place. He finds himself observing through a spherical lens of dreamtime the age-old narrative of Lazarus's resurrection. Lazarus, as the story goes, had been in the tomb for several days, his mortal body showing the inevitable signs of decay. In the heart of the dream, a miraculous event unfolds. The resurrection of Lazarus, a saint long since passed. Imagine, if you will, the lifeless body of Lazarus, his earthly form long surrendered to the finality of death. But then, a figure emerges from the shadows, a beacon of divine light and infinite compassion. It's Jesus, and he's here for a purpose that defies the natural laws of our mortal world. Without hesitation, Jesus sets about his divine task. The source of this life-giving impulse seems to originate beyond the confines of our physical universe, perhaps from the divine plans of God the Father himself. To my mind's eye, it appears as if from nowhere and everywhere, an unfathomable force threads its way through the intricate tapestry of our material world, breathing life into Lazarus's desiccated mortal shell. Imagine Lazarus's ethereal and astral bodies, once deflated and lifeless, now inflating like balloons, the microchannels of each auric layer creaking, clanging, and cracking as they expand. The same inflationary process is applied to his meridian network, his body's energy grid. Then, an electric surge is sent through this infrastructure, coursing through both his subtle and physical bodies. It's as if the entire periodic table of elements is grating, groaning, and roaring back to life. And so, Lazarus's dead bodies begin to reanimate. And then, he is alive. The signs of decay are absorbed, and there stands Lazarus, a saint reborn to the delight of the world and us. A brief glimpse into his subsequent life suggests that the Lazarus before and the Lazarus after are not quite the same man. The Lazarus after, he's upgraded. Before, Lazarus was an ordinary man. After his upgrade, he's anything but ordinary. From my perspective, he no longer needed the energies of the 5 elements for life. Perhaps he could have survived without eating or drinking, as everything from the physical world that entered him left without interacting with him. Instead, he was nourished and sustained by that same divine connection with the spiritual realms of being that resurrected him in the first place. And just like that, Lazarus was reborn, a new man with a new life. But Lazarus's resurrection was more than just a miracle. It was a transformation, a transcendence beyond the physical world. Lazarus, before his resurrection, was just like any other man. He was bound by the necessities of the physical realm. He needed air to breathe, food to eat, water to drink. However, after his resurrection, Lazarus was a changed man. He was no longer tied to the physical world in the way he once was. It was as if he was sustained by a divine force, a celestial energy that transcended the physical needs of a human body. Breath, food, water, these were no longer essential to his survival. His life force seemed to be drawn from another source, perhaps the same divine energy that had resurrected him. And so our protagonist awakens, the dream fading but the message clear. The miracle of life, the mystery of death, and the power of resurrection, all intertwined in a dance as old as time itself.